Dreams. They're funny things, aren't they? Now, I don't know about you, but when I was growing up, there may be one bike or one car that just stood out to me. It was almost like love at first sight. But I knew the chances of actually owning that bike or car would be extremely slim. But yet, we still dare to dream. Because who knows? One day, that dream may come true. As we get older, we occasionally still get that same feeling when you see something that stands out from the crowd. Now for me, it was the Ducati Panigale. Now even the name, Panigale, sounds enticing. Well, we never know when our dreams will come true. What I do know is thanks to Ducati London, I have a Panigale V4S for the weekend. Now, will it live up to my expectations? I don't know. But I do know I'm going to have fun finding out.
Hi, I'm Phil and welcome back to my channel. Now, as I said in the intro, what an absolute dream opportunity it was for me to have the Panigale V4S for the weekend. Now, I'd just like to say an absolute massive thank you to Ducati London and to Ducati UK for the opportunity. Now, as you can imagine, I didn't let the bike sit around for too long. I filmed the intro that you just saw so that I could hit the country lanes of Essex and get fully acquainted with the bike. Regular visitors of this channel will know that I personally prefer the upright riding position you get with a naked bike than you do with most sports bikes. But saying that, after a few minutes of being in the saddle, I noticed how surprisingly comfortable this bike is to ride. I was mindful on how much power the V4S has and how much it costs to buy. It has 215 horsepower at 13,000 RPM to be precise, and the S model will set you back £25,995. So I obviously didn't want to have an adrenaline rush and throw the bike down the road. So I took my time getting used to how she handles, how the throttle, quick shift and brakes respond, and within minutes I knew this was a bike I could welcome into my garage. The power and acceleration on this bike is insane. A touch of the throttle and it's going at whatever speed you want. Keeping this bike at 30 miles an hour isn't difficult, but boy does it feel slow. As you can see on the speedo, I did my best to be a sensible, safe rider, sticking to the speed limits. However, as I would find out as the weekend went on, this bike can be an absolute beast, if you want it to be. As they say, a bike is only as fast as the rider, and I was very happy poodling along the country roads, knocking it through the gears and finding the right lines to make it an enjoyable and safe ride. So what about comfort? Compared to the previous model, Ducati have focused on making this a more comfortable bike to ride, whilst improving the handling. The tank and seat have been redesigned. The saddle now has a flatter shape and has an improved coating, which Ducati say grants easier movement of the rider's body and reduces the rider's tendency to move forward when braking. This 2022 Panigale has a completely new tank from the previous model. The fuel tank has a volume part located under the rider's seat, just like on the racing bikes. Now this centralises the weight, which improves the balance of the bike. Ducati also say that the new shape also improves the hanging off riding manoeuvre when you're all the way off the bike in the middle of the corner, by allowing the rider to lean out of the bike naturally with leaning over, and provides a firm grip for the outside leg. Of course, I didn't try this, but I did try the Rossi leg dangle. A lot of people talk about the heat coming from the Panigale engine, and I was asked a few times if it was hot to ride. Well, that weekend we had a heat wave in the UK, and it was August, so yes, I did feel the heat, especially when riding during the day. So I did find myself doing the Rossi leg dangle on a few occasions, but just to cool my leg down. I don't know about you, but I found the most enjoyable times to ride during the summer is early evening, when it's a little bit cooler and there's less traffic on the roads. That evening I had arranged to meet my friend Harley Dave for a ride out, as I was keen to grab some shots and footage just as the sun was setting. On my way to meeting him, my wife and daughter were kind enough to help grab some footage of me riding on the roads. As I'm sure you know, like the Street Fighter V4S, the Panigale doesn't have a fuel gauge or cruise control, and on this bike you don't really miss it. My trips were within 50 miles from home, so I was never too far from a petrol station should the petrol light come on. So I headed off with Harley Dave for an evening ride and catch up. I also wanted to try and capture the sunset and grab a few shots to share on Instagram. Now I do usually share pretty much straight away on Instagram what I'm up to, so if you don't follow me on there, then please head over and give me a follow. It is of course The Adventures of Phil Jones. I was up really early the next morning, hoping to make the most of the nice light and empty roads. And if the truth was known, I couldn't wait to jump back on the Panigale once again. I parked the bike up to capture this footage, and although there weren't too many people up at that time, it certainly caught the eye of those who did pass by. Some even stopped for a chat and to take a closer look. Now, so far I've only just mentioned a few basic details of the bike, but let me tell you a little bit more of the technical spec. The 2022 Panigale is very different to the previous model, with a new chassis setup, the swinging arm pivot point has changed, the ergonomics has been improved, and so has the electronics, braking and engine. The suspension fitted, as standard, is an Öhlins Smart EC2 event-based electronic control system, which basically means It's state of the art for a road sports bike. As we all know, this bike was developed with the MotoGP and World Superbike Championships in mind, and we know that Alvaro Bautista and Ducati have been dominant all year, and they went on to win the 2022 World Superbike Championship, and Pecco Bagnaia clinched the MotoGP title in the closing round. The tyres are Pirelli Diablo Supercorsa SP tyres, which are again developed for a sporty ride. Know what you are doing and I don't. You can play around with electronics of the bike. Ducati technicians introduced an additional info mode developed from MotoGP riders' suggestions and named Track Evo. It has an option added to the existing road and track settings. You touch a button to switch on the Track Evo screen. I won't pretend I tried to get my head around this, as I was too busy riding, but I did have a little look, and boy is it impressive. It has 4 power modes within each rider mode, so if you want to dial in extra power, you can. Incredibly, you can also change the engine braking by each gear. As far as I know, the only other bikes to do this are race bikes, like the world or British superbikes. To really see the full benefits of this, I'd imagine you will want to be riding on the track and dialing in the settings for each circuit. This, I assume, is why riders and teams are always keen to capture as much data as possible from each race weekend. The gearbox and quick shifter on the Panigale V4S is really smooth and so much fun to use. Now I should also point out the seat height, which is 850mm. This really is an absolute dream bike and has everything you could possibly ever want on a motorcycle. After a short rest and a spot of lunch, I jumped back on the bike and made my way along some of my favourite Essex roads towards Finchinfield, which is well known amongst the biker community. What an incredible ride I had. I was blessed with amazing weather and an unbelievable bike. time I arrived at Finchinfield, I must admit I was a bucket of sweat. And as I got off the bike, I had to laugh at a group of bikers all bunched together under a tiny area of shade. Now it took me a few minutes to realise that I actually knew most of these riders, who included Motor Mandy and her husband John, who made a guest appearance in one of my earlier videos. Yet again, the Panigale got a lot of attention, and some of the guys from the group were keen to take a close look and try it for themselves for size. After a little catch up with my friends, I was back on the road, this time heading to Sybil Headingham. Now, if you know this route, you'll know there's a few tight twisties which can easily catch you out, as some tighten up on you really unexpectedly. As always, I wanted to have fun but not ride stupidly. Now, having the bike for longer gave me the opportunity to try and capture some evening shots. So I made my way back to Old Lee in Essex, where I met my friend Nao, who you would have seen in my last video about the Diavel. I set my camera up on the tripod, and Nao was kind enough to help capture a few images of me on the bike. I also love watching Nao at work with her camera, and it's great we're able to help each other and just enjoy being around the bikes chatting. The next day was a sad day indeed. My time with the Panigale V4S had come to an end, and I had to return her to Ducati London. Now, I was curious to know what first gear was capable of, as I haven't been winding her up too much. Now, honestly, I didn't do this, but I can imagine the bike is capable of reaching in excess of 110 to 115 miles an hour in first gear. It's not until you start to wind the bike up you realise why it has wings and wheelie control. Let's leave it like that, shall we? Now, the question a lot of people are asking: is it too powerful for the road? The short answer is no and yes. You can easily believe you're Alvaro Bautista riding this bike, so you have to constantly remind yourself you're not on the track and you are mortal. But we all know we can ride too fast on any size bike, so it's all about self-control. But this bike will test your limits of self-control, that's for sure. You wouldn't expect riding through London on a V4S to be a particularly pleasurable experience, and obviously trying to keep it at 20 miles an hour isn't easy. But yet again, this bike turns some heads.
Got it for the weekend from Ducati. Oh. Yeah. It's nice though.
The Ducati Red really does stand out, especially on a beautiful summer's day when the sun hits the paintwork. Now my friend Sara Dean Cole owns a Panigale V4S, and although it's a previous model to the one that I had, I thought I'd take the opportunity to talk to her about her bike and all things Ducati while she was visiting London.
The camera's blocking you. There we go.
That's
Yeah.
the idea.
Hey,
Hello.
hi there. So I'm with my friend Sara Dean Cole, who's visiting London from Houston,
Yes.
Texas. Now tell me a little bit about, so you are the president of
Yes, the Houston Ducati Owners Club.
Houston Ducati Owners
Yeah.
Club. Ducati,
Well,
Ducati.
it's Ducati. Yes. Say Ducati.
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 But you like to say Ducati. So just tell me, Sara, you are the president of
Yes, president of the Houston. Now they've changed it to Ducati Official Club. Yes.
Fantastic. Now, your personal bike is a Panigale V4S.
Yes.
What year is your bike?
2020.
2020. So the one that I took out was the 2021, 2022 model.
Yeah, one right after mine.
So there's been a few changes since then, but you've got a few miles sort of
Yeah.
on the saddle on that bike, haven't you?
Yeah.
So what is your honest opinion? What do you really love about that bike?
Good question. So I got it January 2020, and I have like 13,500 plus miles on it.
Wow.
Absolutely love it. I'd say my favorite Ducati. Been riding Ducati since 2005, but obviously it's the first one that's not a twin and a V4. So I definitely felt the difference on the track. It is just smooth as butter.
Yeah.
So easy to just handle in the corners, and it's just such a delight to ride. I just absolutely love it. So
Because you do quite a few track days, don't you? What circuit? It's Circuit of America, isn't it?
yeah,
America's.
we're so lucky to live like only about 2 hours away from Circuit of the Americas.
Amazing.
So we get to ride, I'd say, God, at least 3, 4, sometimes 5 times a year.
Brilliant.
And then we have a local track that's
Yeah.
decent.
And you trailer your bike and then take it away on holiday with you as well, don't you?
Yeah, so our club will go
Yeah.
on 2 or 3 like weekend trips away, because Houston's pretty flat, so we have to kind of go out either to the Texas Hill Country, which is about 4.5 hours away. We usually do that like twice a year.
Yeah.
And then Arkansas, which is a state or 2 above us.
Yeah.
They have phenomenal roads and riding there. So we just came back
Yeah.
in September.
Amazing.
Had such a great time. Yeah.
So I have heard people say that you wouldn't want to travel too far on a Panigale. What would you say about that?
For me personally, I guess just being on a sports bike, it's not going to be too comfortable, especially in Houston, Texas area, because it's just a lot of like straight.
Yeah. Straight roads.
And so it's exhausting.
No twisties.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it would be exhausting for me personally. So that's why, like once we're out riding, like that's what I ride when we're out in Arkansas or Colorado. Sorry, not Colorado. New Mexico.
Okay.
Once you're going and you're riding and there's turns and twists, you're good.
But everyone knows that's what the Panigale is for, though, isn't it?
Exactly.
Just for that. If you want to do those long trips, it's really the Desert X now or the Multistrada
Yeah, exactly.
V4. Awesome.
Or maybe Street Fighter before.
Or the Street Fighter.
Goals.
Yeah. Like our friend Nick, who's just got rid of her Street Fighter
I know.
to get something else. So.
Yes.
So in your club, how many members do you have, and how many different styles of Ducatis are there? The entire range. You've got modern, but you've also got retro as well, haven't you?
Yeah, we have every single, I think, different Ducati rider that there is in the lineup, which is pretty cool, especially when we have our gatherings, and You just
Yeah.
get to see all the beautiful,
Yeah.
all the different types of Ducatis.
So would you recommend, maybe a silly question, but would you recommend that anyone who buys a Ducati to actually join a local, you know, their local Ducati club?
100%. Sometimes we joke and say, like, the membership is really the price of the bike. You're really getting the membership to the club, because you're instantly part of the family, and it's just such an amazing experience that, like, I have friends that I've met from all over the world through all the different clubs, and you instantly have that connection of the love for
of course,
the Ducati and riding, and I don't know any other manufacturer that has that except maybe Harley. But it's
No, I
really
agree.
something special. And everyone just feels connected in the club, and then I get to go and get to visit other clubs. So
well, I really enjoy your Instagram stories and reels, and I look forward to your Thursday night club ride, isn't it? Club nights.
That's right.
Yes, fantastic.
Those are one of my favorite days of the week.
Hey.
Some quick throttle therapy. Yeah.
Everybody needs some throttle therapy for sure.
Exactly.
You do, I know, I have seen your stories. You have a soft spot also for the Street Fighter, don't you?
Yes.
So why would you want to add a Street Fighter into your garage collection if you've got a Panigale V4S?
So I mean, you can never have too many bikes, but I feel bad sometimes putting so many miles on Valentino, and I was thinking, oh, what would I get for a second bike? And I've tried so many different of the other Ducati models, and when I rode the Street Fighter, like, that was the only other bike besides the Panigale that I was like, oh my god, I can't wait to ride that bike again.
Yeah.
So it still kind of has like it has the handling and the feel of a Panigale, but it's a little bit more comfortable, and
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Great for the street, and then still it has wings too.
Now, they've just released the black and grey model. What do you think about having a Ducati not in red? What do you think of the black and grey colour?
So I love it. My first two Ducatis actually were matte black and black gloss. So that's kind of why I have like a soft spot in my heart, because it reminds me of my first two Ducks. So that's kind of why I have to get another.
So our friend Leonor,
yes.
So she had the black Monster.
Yes,
She now just got the Desert X. So I'm really excited about her new YouTube channel, which I'll stick something up here so everyone can go follow. But yeah, fantastic.
Yes.
Well, it's been absolutely amazing seeing you again the last few days, and thanks so much for chatting to us, and can't wait for 2023 when hopefully we'll be doing more together and even finally get our ride out.
I know, exactly. Yes, thank you so much. It was wonderful to see you again.
Now, thanks as always for watching, guys. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. Now, as always, please leave a comment and let me know what you think of the Panigale V4S. And if you own one, then let me know what you think about your bike. Stay safe, and I'll see you in the next video very soon. Subscribe, like and comment.